So the notable wide receivers from the 2024 rookie class will go as follows. We have Brian Thomas, we have McConkey, we have Xavier Worthy, we have Malik Nabers, Marvin Harrison Jr, Odunze, Keon Coleman, and lastly Xavier Legette. Now there are some other receivers like Mitchell, Devon Vele, Troy Franklin, Jalen McMillan, and even Luke McCaffrey, but I'm gonna keep it pretty simple for you guys. I'm going to talk about the top guys, the guys that have been producing this season. Like we did in the quarterback rankings, we're going to have the him category for guys who are exceptional and great receivers. We're going to have the mid category for guys who are producing but could do better. And then we're going to have the not him. I would also add an honorable mention to this ranking. Now, let's start this video off by talking about Marvin Harrison Jr. This guy coming to the NFL was seen as one of the best rookie receivers we've ever seen. His dad, Marvin Harrison, was a legend of the game, one of the greatest receivers we've seen. And now his son, the prodigy himself, Marvin Harrison Jr., coming into the league with his great size at 6'3". He got the route running down, basically everything that you need in a receiver. And when we look at his stats this season, he has 36 receptions, about 146 yards, 15.2 yards per catch, and 6 touchdowns. He's actually leading his team right now in touchdowns. About 15% of the Arizona Cardinals total receiving yards is coming from our boy Marvin Harrison Jr. He got about 25% of the team's total touchdown, and right now for sure he's one of the best rookie receivers in the league. So I'm gonna make this a no-brainer, y'all. I'm gonna put Marvin Harrison Jr. in the him category because he is him. Be honest, man.
Go out there first, second quarter, don't get the ball, start getting targets at the end. I mean, can't do nothing. Start getting the ball when it's 30-0. What you want me to do?
A bullshit? A bullshit? A bullshit.
So now let's move on to the first rookie wide receiver taken off the board in the 2024 NFL draft. This is no one else but Malik Nabers. This guy, I feel bad for him. He got drafted to the Giants and he is a great receiver. He has all the talent. I think probably the most talented receiver we've probably seen since Odell Beckham. Hey, if you put Zor out there, I probably could guard him, but any other cornerback in the league right now, I think going against Malik Nabers is an absolute nightmare. So this season in the NFL, Malik Nabers has 67 receptions, 671 receiving yards, 10 yards per catch, and about 3 touchdowns. 25% of the New York Giants' entire receiving yards has come from him. He has 15% of their touchdowns, and just overall a great player. And that's where the irony comes in, because you might be thinking, Zor, put this guy at him. I think Malik Nabers is him, but he has a huge problem.
Jones throws.
What's wrong with you, bro? What the heck? You tripping, bro? You tripping?
Yeah, we gotta catch those. He has a lot of drops, and we gotta be honest, if you want to be an elite him receiver, you gotta be able to catch the ball. And his inconsistency in terms of just catching routine balls isn't there. So Malik Nabers, my boy, you're gonna be in the mid category with all due respect. Don't freaking clown me. He's mid, and y'all know it. He can do better. We know he can do better. We know he should be in the him category. It's either his team or the coaching. Something isn't working there to see Malik Nabers be the guy that we know he can be. Now let's move on to one of his homies from LSU. Let's move on to Brian Thomas Jr. So this is actually going to be the funniest part of the ranking video, because Malik Nabers always say that he was the better receiver at LSU.
The main thing, I came out here to set the record straight that I'm the best. You know, my coaches told me, you know, all year it was going to come down to this day to show, you know, what I was made of.
Everybody, the media, everybody say that Malik Nabers was the best receiver, but then this season, when you look at the way Brian Thomas has been playing, it's night and day. And you can probably even argue that Brian Thomas Jr. is in a worse position than Malik Nabers right now. It's kind of close. All right, Daniel Jones or Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence is playing like shit. The Jaguars haven't been good since I have followed the NFL, so it's crazy to kind of put the two together. But I will say Brian Thomas Jr. has been the better player this season. When we actually look at his stats, he has 42 receptions, way less receptions than our boy Malik Nabers, and he has more yards in 689. He has more touchdowns. He has more percentage of his team receiving yards, more percentage of his team's touchdown in 21%. So when we take a look at all these stats, we obviously know that our boy BJH or whatever it is, Brian Thomas Jr. is gonna be a Hemispherian in my books. Hey, my receiver himself, Legette, that strong looking motherfucker. This is mini DK. This is the man himself, the Carolina best investment in their receiver position this season in Xavier Legette, people. I think this guy has so much potential in the league. His size and all his measurables sort of put him in that position to be one of the best receivers we're gonna have from this draft class. I have so much faith in Xavier Legette and what he can do for the Carolina Panthers. I think once he gets to that point where he polishes his game, he becomes that elite receiver. Give him like 3 years in the NFL. That's when we're gonna see Xavier Legette really pops. So right now he has about 33 receptions, the lowest yards I've actually mentioned so far in 344 yards, 10 yards per catch, and about 4 touchdowns. So he's not in the greatest offense, but Xavier Legette has all the tangibles to be a good player. So right now I'm not gonna put him in the him or the mid category, okay? This is not to disrespect him. I will actually put him in the not him category right now, even though I really like this guy as a player and as a person. His story is absolutely insane. But yeah, that is Legette.
Everything your way, nigga.
By the way, that's his mom. What the fuck? Now, ladies and gentlemen, let's talk about the fastest man in the NFL this year, who in a combine clocked in at a 4.2240, which is absolutely insane, breaking the combine record. Now, he is known as a speedster, but people, I'm not gonna rush to put him in the him or the mid category, because once we look at his stats right now, you guys can actually see that maybe Xavier Worthy is a little overhyped because of his combine performance. Now, this season, Xavier Worthy has about 28 receptions, 353 yards, a little above Legette. He has 12.6 yards per catch. I honestly think that would be higher because he's a deep threat kind of guy. He's a speedster there to replace Tyreek Hill. And from the stats I just mentioned, you guys can see that Xavier Worthy do have to work on a lot of things in his game. I think he can be a really great route runner. He has a huge future in front of him, but right now I'm gonna put him in the not him category. He might not be producing crazily on the field, but I think Xavier Worthy, if he has the chances, he can maybe turn things around and become a key part of this Chiefs offense. Now let's talk about Keon Coleman, the Bills wide receiver, the big body receiver coming out of Florida. Now Keon Coleman has that verticality that you want from your receiver. He's that typical X receiver, got the size, got the hands, he got some of the route running, but he has that explosive upside where you know that when he's in space, he's gonna do a lot of things. Now Keon Coleman this season has about 22 receptions, which is the lowest I've mentioned today, 417 yards more than Worthy and Legette. He has 19 yards per catch, and right now only 3 touchdowns. I really like his yards per catch. That's a huge sign for a good receiver. And right now he's only 12% of the Buffalo Bills actual receiving yards, so he hasn't contributed much in that department. But I think Keon Coleman, man, he can be an absolute stud on a good day, man. So I'm gonna put him in the mid category. Okay, he's not him quite yet. I think if this offense actually start to build around him, he could be that Hemispherian. He could be pushing that CD level if he gets the play calling his way. Now let's talk about one of the highest drafted wide receivers. This guy was actually drafted 9th along with his quarterback who was drafted 1st in Caleb Williams. Odunze, people, is actually a nightmare. This guy, I think, coming to this draft class might be above Malik Nabers. Maybe that's a hard take. His releases are insane. His time at Washington was filled with crazy catches, crazy releases, crazy routes. He just does it all for a receiver. Now when we look at his performance with the Chicago Bears, he has about 39 receptions, 518 receiving yards, 13 yards per catch, and only 1 touchdown. But some people will argue there are a lot of other weapons in the receiving room of that team. You have DJ Moore, you have Keenan Allen, you have a developmental quarterback in Caleb Williams. So all of these things can highly impact the way a receiver performs. So I'm not gonna say that there's no way Odunze actually become so crazy and good in this league, but right now he's slightly underperformed, and I will actually put him in the mid category again, people. Now, people, let's move on to a white person. Let's move on to Ladd McConkey. There has been a comeback in the NFL. I think white people are finally trying to take over again. People, we have Cooper DeJean, we have Riley Moss, and now we have Ladd McConkey. Guys, I actually like this receiver. Yes, he has a great quarterback in Justin Herbert. Yes, he has a good running game. He has a decent O-line and a good defense. But I think McConkey has been showing a lot of people that he can be reliable. He could actually be a wide receiver one. He came into his team where there weren't a lot of actual receiving options to, I guess, take some attention off of him. He had Quentin Johnston there, but he's still performing at a very, very high level. His stats this season: 43 receptions, 615 yards, 14 yards per catch, and 4 touchdowns. This is a white human being playing receiver really well. We only see like 3 of those in the NFL every season, and Ladd McConkey, guys, is taking over a third of that. I don't even know if the math is mathing, but Ladd McConkey is a really good receiver, and I'm gonna put him in the mid category. Okay, now we do have some other receivers in Troy Franklin, Adonai Mitchell, Devon Vele, Jalen McMillan with the Bucks. I think all of these guys are great receivers, but I'm not gonna take the time to rank them because they haven't done much to even make it up to my not him category. So the guys that are ranked are pretty good. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more rankings. Let's go.